Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to Shop Talk Fridays, where we talk about business, people, doing business with people, and finding that healthy balance for continuous success, whatever success means to you. My name is Mira, and I'm going to be your host on this journey. I'm an award-winning marketer with over 15 years of experience, and I'm a very proud owner of a full-service marketing consultancy based in Toronto called Miracle. We provide innovative solutions for clients across Canada. And I'm overjoyed to present our very first guest, who is a very dear friend of mine. She's been a tremendous support for my career development in the past decade. Her name is Toran Eggert. Toran has a tremendous experience in our industry. She's been on the landlord side, on the retail side, and 3 years ago became the founding member of Urban Reform. They do retail and landlord representation. They have a team of amazing leasing professionals, and I'm overjoyed, as I said, to welcome her to our adventure. So let's go meet her. Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to Shop Talk Fridays. I am extremely overjoyed to welcome the amazing Toran Eggert for our very first episode. Welcome, Toran. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, Mira.
So Toran and I today will talk about the evolution of retail, what had happened in the past, where we headed, and how to inspire the next generation. So Toran, can you tell us what was the transformation you saw through the years in the retail and shopping center industry, and what shaped the landscape in Canada?
Well, the one constant of retail and real estate in Canada is that there's always change. I've been in the industry about 20, 25 plus years, and I've seen the evolution of the shopping center, the decline of the department store, the onset of the power center, the mixed-use development, and the transformation and evolution as well. So there's an incredible amount of change, and it's fascinating.
So we've seen, for example, fashion was super hot at some time, and then we saw everybody rushed into the service-oriented uses. Like, what did you see? Like, what succeeded kind of from all of this? Like, and what is in the past?
Oh, great question. The retailers that have been most successful are the ones that have evolved with demographics and with e-commerce. So the retailers that have actually created a great e-commerce platform or have something experiential that actually resonates with the demographic that has the most buying power, or their target as well. So what we're seeing today is an increase in health and wellness. We've seen an increase in essential services and food. We've seen an increase in a love for pets at home. We've also seen in the fashion area much more athleisure and inspired by social media.
So that kind of leads us to the next question, because you guys represent some pretty cool retailers at Urban Reform, and you're on top of the trends. So what is hot now? Like, what is actually up to speed with the consumer demand?
Well, what's really happening out there is the mixed use, and actually getting that right, and what works with retail and residential and office, and the mix of most of the asset classes. So we're seeing quite a bit of growth in some segments, like the laundry room, which is an alternative hotel experience. We're lucky at Urban Reform to represent some of the most iconic brands in Canada. What we are seeing is quite a bit of growth in the QSR. We represent Chipotle, we represent Chick-fil-A, which are very exciting entries into Canada, as well as we are working with Laundry Room, and Laundry Room is an alternative hotel experience, as well as we are working with a rental modular developer as well in southwestern Ontario. And we also have our tried and true retailers that are doing great, Still and Indigo, as well as Mark's Work Warehouse and several others.
So do you think that the traditional retailer who evolved also has a place along with all of this out of the box ideas? Like, as long as there's some type of innovation and pivoting, you and I know that we've done this through the years to succeed.
I agree. No, absolutely. They're very much retailers that have been able to evolve, even traditional retailers that have been seen in shopping centers for a long time. There's some growth with Lululemon, Champs, Foot Locker is doing fantastic. It's just about evolving and creating that interesting new experience, and that's what retail is. You can get stale very easily if you don't evolve and understand your customer.
So the shopping center is not dead?
No, I don't believe the shopping center is dead. I do think there are some that will be hit, and because of e-commerce, you don't need as many units or bricks and mortar. So the bricks and mortar, you'll see a little bit of a consolidation of units, and there will be some failures for sure, but those ones will turn into something else, because typically shopping centers are based in some of the highest and the best real estate in their target market.
Yeah. So we don't have the crystal ball, but just very quick upon, like, if you have a prediction for the future, like, what do you think the alternative uses will be? What is?
I think some of the trends that are actually happening today are health and wellness. We're also seeing the increase of gaming as another alternative to the shopping center environment. We're also seeing, the continued evolution of food and beverage and prepared foods. So there's lots coming. There's the most incredible thing about retail is that there is so many entrepreneurs with incredible vision and incredible ideas for the future, and they go with the trends of the day.
So yeah, hospitality is an interesting point, but what about the distribution centers? We're seeing like a lot of them, and where do you see that trend going?
Well, that's also fascinating, because as the asset class of industrial costs go up, I believe that in the future some of the shopping centers will have the mix of a distribution center and retail within the same premises. That way you're closer to the people, because once again, shopping centers generally are in much better high trafficked areas than industrial. So that combination, I believe, is another trend that's going to happen.
So Toran, do you feel that COVID kind of accelerated the inevitable?
Good question. Yeah, I think in some retailers, absolutely, that it really did accelerate what was already happening pre-COVID. And we've seen that in some mid-level fashion tenants across the country and accelerated failures. But also where it came out of the blue was much more the food and beverage players, the local players, because they just don't have the cash flow to maintain that storm, and they don't have the e-commerce platform as well. So the smaller shops were definitely hit a lot harder than the boxes, and certainly this is some area that landlords could work on helping helping tenants to have a better profile from an e-commerce perspective.
Yeah, no, that's a great point actually. I would like to open a bracket here. Like, we feel very passionate about that. So at Mirabel, we start working with some landlords and creating packages for their small mom and pop shops that already have the customer base. They've been there for 35 years, but they simply cannot evolve. They're terrified from the idea of having a Facebook or a website.
Absolutely.
And at the same time, they don't have the funds to go to a marketing agency or ad agency and pay thousands of dollars for something they don't even understand.
No, absolutely, and it's a great idea that you're going to work with that, because I see that as a great asset to the local players.
So we kind of talked about the trends, but how about the evolution of, like, what are landlords doing? Like, what is the trend? What is going to happen in the future?
Well, interesting with landlords. They're definitely going to have to work with their local players. For many years, landlords have had actually. There's been a limited supply in the best properties. So now they're going to have to, the equilibrium between supply and demand has changed. So I think the landlords are going to have to work much more closely with their tenants. They're going to have to develop their local tenants. They're also going to have to work on, some of the lease clauses, which is already happening today, which is the force majeure clause. They're going to have to be much more proactive and think outside the box on alternative uses and alternative uses, but not only that, but also mixed use, right? Like, how can they densify their sites? How can they make this a much more compelling placemaking for retailers?
So what do you think is going to happen with rental income, and how should landlords become not more approachable but more open for all these new and alternative uses that may not necessarily have the same legal backing or like the
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that landlords are going to have to be more open and more interested in different uses and think outside the box. The pendulum has swerved a little bit, where for many years the landlord would have had much more of the upper hand in most assets, not all. It's not 100%. But I do think the collaboration needs to be there. They need to help the locals in their marketing efforts, as we talked about before. They need to think outside the box. They need to look at their alternatives. And it's not what it was before. It's in the speed of evolution has gone faster and faster, and we have to keep up.
And I guess we obviously we always want the retailers to succeed, but COVID showed us that actually it's so fragile, and we need to have not less restrictions, but be more open for a flexible relationship. Right?
Absolutely. As the world is going, everyone wants flexibility, and I think that it will be the same from the landlord community as well. Also, it's interesting about COVID, there was some incredible winners. Like in every crisis, there's also winners, and that have actually accelerated their growth, and we are seeing a little bit of that as well. But after post-COVID, I do believe there's going to be the floodgates will open, and there'll be some excitement and some new beginnings for new players in our industry.
One of the things that you and I talked about it, and how important it is for a business to succeed, and what is really success. But we know that leadership in a company is very important, and you can have all the great ideas, but if you're not supporting your people and you're not that strong leader, your business may not succeed. So what do you see leadership evolving into? What do you need to be a good leader?
A great question, because there's so many different types of leaders, and that can be successful. I can only basically talk about what I believe in, and I believe in collaboration, and I believe in team, and I believe in creating an environment that people can thrive in, and that can be mentored, and that feel that they are part of the solution. I believe the leaders of today need to recognize what the next generation wants and what they need. They do need, I believe they need a flexible environment. I think they also want to work for a company that gives back, that is a world citizen, that is going to help. The era of individuality, I believe, has changed, and it's now about creating an environment where we're helping the future.
I love that. I love it, and especially because for me, like, we are also consumers, right? Like, so the same way we want the consumers to and clients to come to us, like, I believe we should treat our employees the same way.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Strongly believe about the environmental aspect. And nowadays we're seeing people are more inclined buying into brands that are environmentally friendly, and they don't mind paying that extra dollar or like
Absolutely.
the markup on it. So I 100% resonate. Plus, I've worked for Toran for a very long time, so I know she's true to her word, and she's been a leader of tomorrow way before that. So that leads us kind of like we are wrapping up, but I think it's important to talk about and talk to the young generation entering that market, that job market right now. I remember when you interviewed me first, and we had an amazing interview, and we talked about my cat on the leash, but I got inspired by you. Like, you sparked that enthusiasm to enter the real estate business, and it's been like, what, over a decade now.
Oh my goodness. Well, I have to say it was easy at that interview, because we hit it off immediately, that's for sure. For me, it's all about being true to yourself, doing something that you want to do, that you're passionate about, that gets you up on Monday morning, ready to go. I think one of the most important thing is to always be honest and to do the right thing. And if you do the right thing, and you'll create a reputation, long-standing reputation that actually takes you where you want to be.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because, for example, when I started in the real estate business, and I used to go at the secret society, because then we realized it's a small pool of people, and everybody knows each other, and you really have to guard your reputation. And I think nowadays the young people don't realize that social media, LinkedIn. Those are the first things that employers look at when they see your resume and if you're
Absolutely.
a qualified candidate, right?
Absolutely. I agree with you there. You definitely have to protect that, and remember, it's a journey. It's not just about today. You got to think what your actions today will create in the future.
And we used to have this saying, play hard, work hard, so it doesn't matter what show up the next day.
Oh yeah, we always had fun. So I think once again, you also have to have fun and be passionate about it and enjoy it. And if that resonates, you're going to be successful and you're going to get what you want.
Well, thank you so much, Toran. Thank you for your time, and enjoy your weekend, guys.